RFK. Hey, welcome to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Joining me for the show, we have Jakub Bujans, Blaze TV contributor and host of The Bottom Line, along with our friend, it's been a while, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West.
Finally broke out of purgatory.
Yeah, stop it. Dallas County Republican Party chairman, stop it. He always gives me a hard time. You know what? You're a very busy man.
You were campaigning. You
look so nice, too.
Congratulations, by the way.
Well, I mean, I get dressed by my wife.
She has very good taste.
I don't.
That's the way it works in our household as well. Yeah. He's like, I think he spends more time having me pick out an outfit for him than I spend picking out an outfit for myself. Steven?
I mean, you're probably right.
I'm not wrong.
Voice in the sky confirms.
So let's talk about this interview tonight, the CNN interview. Dana Bash is going to interview Vice President Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, of course, her running mate, for the first time. And she has skirted interviews now for, how long has it been? 5 weeks since she announced that she was running?
Yeah.
And I believe we looked that up yesterday. July 21st, I believe, was the day that she formally...
Did she actually announce she was running?
No, she just claimed it.
Yeah.
Right.
She was the recipient of the coup.
Right.
Stepped into it.
Happenstance.
Which, remember, that was only because... They didn't actually want her. That was only because she was the only one who could potentially receive all of the war chest.
Yes.
Because her name was on
the 90 million bucks could come over.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Right, exactly.
Newsom couldn't get that.
Right. So now, of course, she is going to be on CNN, and Donald Trump is weighing in, criticizing Kamala Harris for allegedly, they say, flip-flopping. I would say that as well. She's flip-flopping on the key issues. And he's like, why is the interview pre-recorded rather than live?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why is Tim Walz going to have to be present? What, she can't handle big girl questions by herself? And I want to play some of Donald Trump. Watch.
We now know that Vice President Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are going to sit down for an interview with CNN tomorrow. What are you expecting from that?
Well, I think it's crazy. She's gone months without talking to the press. She's not talking to anybody. She is copying, they would call it flip-flopping, on everything she's believed in for the last 20 years. She now says, well, she'll frack, and well, she'll do walls, but she doesn't mean it because she's a Marxist. I mean, she's absolutely a Marxist or beyond that. And nobody's ever seen anything quite like it. She's gone back on about 14 different policies all at once. Interestingly, a political historian I just left, we were talking about some things, and said, in history, on occasion, somebody will go back on one major policy and they'll change. She's gone back on every single thing she's ever said, which means that she's not going to do any of it. She's only doing it to get elected. And I think the public's not going to stand for that.
I mean, the things that she isn't going full communist on, she's just taking from Donald Trump's playbook. Now Kamala wants to secure the border, build the border wall, no tax on tips. She's just going, leaning into MAGA when she's not telling us that she wants price controls and bread lines. So, I added, she's not telling you she wants a bread line. That just would be the inevitable conclusion of all of the price controls of your food. And so I want to get your thoughts, gentlemen, on this interview tonight and what to expect. And I want to first throw in this tweet from Jason Miller, Donald Trump's senior advisor, who tweeted this afternoon, hearing that CNN will not be releasing the full transcript of all 18 minutes, the total of the interview with Kamala Harris and human blocking dummy Coach Walz. What's being cut out? My initial reaction to that was, wait, it's only 18 minutes in the first place? You can't go a full half hour? I don't know, maybe 45 minutes? I mean, 18 minutes was the entirety of the interview, and you had to even cut it down from that? How much of a disaster are we talking about here?
Well, without a doubt, this is pre-staged. So there's probably a teleprompter there. She's probably going to have notes because she asked for notes for the first debate. And you know what? I got to be honest. The very first college football game is on tonight on ESPN, and I'm going to be watching Colorado and Deion Sanders. I already know who Kamala Harris is. She's a shape-shifting liar, and I know who Tim Walz is. He is a liar and a coward, and he is despicable to me because, Jaco, you and I served in the military, and when the call came for us to go and do what we had to do, we answered it. Tim Walz didn't. But I really think that for young women or women, period, in the United States of America, how shameful it is that this person cannot stand up on her own, and she needs to have this crutch, or she needs to have a series of crutches, but yet she wants to be the commander-in-chief. She wants to be the president of the United States of America. So I think that this is all going to just backfire and fall apart.
Yeah.
They so well said, shapeshifter, and maybe even in the demonic form, shapeshifter is what it is, 100%. Look, if you won't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything.
Absolutely.
Right? That's biblical. And these people don't know the word of God. They don't follow God. They follow demonic unction and notion. So yeah, if you hijack a position that was left vacant through a coup, which is what it was, pushing a sitting president out of a seat, that's AKA Brazil and Maduro and
Third world.
If you hijack a seat, you probably don't have policies in play. You probably don't have a list of policies. You probably have to now go operate in the world of thiefdom. And that's what you're seeing. It's like, well, just take Trump's policies. And we'll just go and say, well, we'll do that too. You're going to not tax tips? Well, I'll build a wall. Did you? Because you're currently still the border czar. Did you build a wall? No, you did not.
Right.
You lost 500,000 children.
Right. Which is something that the Trump campaign, and I think rightfully so, continues to hammer on, but on everything, because they released this, 10 questions that Kamala should be asked by CNN. And of course, one of them was, if you are capable of lowering prices for Americans, why haven't you done it in the 3.5 years that you've been in office? Because she's in this weird spot where she is admitting how bad off we are. She's going to campaign stops and saying groceries have gone up.
50%.
Yeah. Inflation's gone up. Everything has gone up. Day one, I'm going to fix that. Well, you can't say that when you're the Harris and Biden-Harris in the White House right now.
And that's what Jaco just brought up is, she's trying to run away from the policies that she has put in place for the past 3.5 years and come up with something different. When you watch the Democrat National Convention last week, it was like, we're showing up. We're not the incumbents. We're the new kids on the block.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, you bring out Bill Clinton, who, if you're talking about women's rights, I mean, why would you continue to bring out Bill Clinton? But he sat up there and railed on all of their policies, talking about, again, the economy is bad, this is bad, we want to bring back peace and not war. Well, guess what? The person that you guys just put up there to be president, she's part of the chaos and confusion.
She's part of the chaos and confusion. She wasn't elected into this position. Not a single vote. Did not win one delegate. I think she needed, 2,800 or something. Just adopted them with a 90 million war chest and a whole bunch of Hollywood filth. And you have a, just think about this. You have a person running who's currently the second highest office of the free world, currently, actively, today, right? She's not in limbo. She's still got a job to do. Running for the highest office in the land and did not earn a single delegate vote.
It's great. But
It's a circus show.
But they care so much about democracy, Jaco. It's their favorite thing.
I mean, she will not do a single, everything actually she says she'll do, she's going to do the exact opposite.
Well, except
This
all
is
the
a ruse.
price controls and,
Oh my
the
God.
commie stuff she is going to do.
We have not seen, look, it can get way worse than it's been. Way, way worse. And Kamala, look, the wheels on the bus will go round and round.
And I think that you're going to start seeing the backside of her little bump.
I agree.
The joke cola effect is really wearing off, and I think it's going to start this week. And the separation is going to be incredible. And by the September the 10th, when you have that first debate, I think you can start throwing dirt.
Yeah. No, I totally agree because, I mean, just think about it. She's been able to go since July 21st with no real questions being asked. She's totally on prompter at the DNC. I mean, she's not had to actually face any sort of obstacles. Well, what does she have ahead of her? She's going to have to do more press than just this, and she's going to have that September 10th debate.
That's the moment.
Right, where
That's
she's not going to be able
unscripted.
to read from notes.
Yeah, and look, even if then I would not remember, they fed Hillary, they met with Hillary's team, and they
Brazil.
co-drafted the questions. But still, there's an element of Trump is in the room, and he can interject. So you can't be fully scripted. So that's the night, and I think it's one and done. She will not show up for another debate.
No.
But pre-tape means edit, censor, mask, shape. I mean, come on. This is a complete farce. It's a lie. It's a fleecing of the American people again. And so I just hope Americans' eyes are open. Watch football tonight. Don't watch this cheap
I think it's going to be an upset of Colorado, as a matter of fact. North Dakota State's going to take them down.
Colonel's like, I'm not even wasting time talking.
Not. It's only 18 minutes. I mean, it's just.
Dion is a friend, and I'm telling you, that guy, I mean, we'll see tonight. It's going to be good.
You're
Yeah.
going to start with North Dakota State.
Kamala who?
Yeah. Who? What was the first segment?
Well, but okay, so I know I want to talk about football too. By the way, my wheels have been turning of like, how can I talk about football more on this show?
Let's do it. Right now.
Literally, I just was having this conversation at lunch.
Well, you got Coach Walz.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Right. America's dad,
Look,
Coach Walz,
he's coaching Kamala.
assistant coach.
You got a volunteer here.
Yeah.
Look, not just to U.S. services, right? But a Tennessee Vol.
Right.
You got two oranges here.
That's true. Texas Longhorns. is
Texas
my team.
Longhorns.
Well, but more importantly,
Patty Brown.
but more importantly, I don't want to. Listen, I love this man, and I don't.
Her hubby
wanna,
is Roll Tide.
That's what I'm
know.
saying. Like
Close the
he does
circle.
not like me when I talk about football because
I love you. Look, it's just for that little point in time, on the third Saturday of October, if you start saying roll tide with me, you're going to elicit a very adverse reaction.
yeah.
But we're good.
Right. But so whenever we're fighting out, this is
good.
so worn. I need a new one. Whenever
here
we're
we
fighting,
go.
I just go,
And she's
Okay,
showing
but
us-
you
It's like
only fly
kryptonite.
that
Tonight.
that bad. She flies only to get points with her husband. She's not a Bama fan. She's a Texas fan.
I mean, I
Welcome to the SEC.
I know. Thank
Every
you.
weekend.
Big boy football.
Trust me, I know. They are not. I fear that they are not prepared for the big boy football that's about to take place. It's
we
going to
go.
be really interesting. Okay. All right. I guess we're done talking about Kamala.
18 minutes. Who cares?
18 minutes. I know you're not going to watch it. I'll probably just watch. I'll watch both.
We have
I'll watch
to
both. It's only 18 minutes after all, so I can watch both.
Of the 18 minutes, she's not going to speak for 18. She's going to speak for 9. Walz is going to get 9. She's only going to give you 9, maybe 7 minutes.
It's just so I'm back on it now. Hold on, before we go to break. It is really so
I know this girl.
embarrassing.
I know where.
So embarrassing. You mentioned it, Colonel. It's just so embarrassing. You have to have a man there. You can't spend 18 minutes.
It's a joke.
I've given monologues much longer than that by myself. You can't spend. You want to run for highest office in the
it tells
land,
you
and
her
you can't
team.
spend 18 minutes with another woman who is a friendly to you.
Yeah.
It's not like it's Fox News. It's CNN.
And not pre-recorded.
Right.
It's not live, but Sarah, it tells you that her team knows that, listen, we can't. This thing's got to be
they do.
contained like
Of course they do. We saw a report a couple weeks ago that her allies were like, whatever we can do to keep Kamala from talking, let's do
Let's have a
that.
president that doesn't talk, because we had one that barely breathes. Right. Now we have one that doesn't talk. We're going to go
"Please,
from
just
one
shut
that's
her up. Just
asleep to one that's mute.
Yeah. Well, they hope she's mute anyway. All right, we've got to take a quick break. We'll be back with more, but I want to thank our sponsor this segment, Cardio Miracle. So Cardio Miracle has become, I know I tell you guys, my pre-show ritual. It is like sourced with 55, I think, of the finest food, plant, and herbal ingredients, best natural flavors in the world, and it helps with such a plethora of things. So whether you have low energy, maybe you have vitamin depletion, you're taking prescription meds you don't want to be taking, you want a better night's sleep, whatever the case may be, try Cardio Miracle. It actually can stimulate your body's natural healing pathways to produce the miracle molecule nitric oxide. So that's why it gives you a boost, and it helps with so many different ailments: heart disease, diabetes, kidney disease, Alzheimer's, dementia. One of these days, we are going to send some Cardio Miracle to Joe Biden for his dementia. You can go to cardiomiracle.com/Sarah. Use code Sarah for 10% off of your first order. Subscribe and save will get you 15% off with free shipping, 60-day money-back guarantee. cardiomiracle.com/Sarah, promo code Sarah.
Yep.
So Donald Trump is now being criticized by the left for, you heard the latest on the wreath-laying ceremony for those who were lost, the 13 service people who were lost in Afghanistan. And now all of a sudden, because he can't do anything nice without the left starting some sort of rumor about him, talking about how he called veterans suckers and losers, which is so out of character for him. It doesn't even make sense. But these people are brain dead, so they don't think about things critically. And so according to NPR and the Associated Press, they say the Trump team was allegedly warned against taking photographs. Okay, they were not, you cannot take photographs, and they did it anyway. They pushed past these people. They did it anyway. There was a verbal abuse, physical pushing by Trump campaign staff. And of course, then we have Trump campaign spokesman Stephen Chung claiming the incident was due to his staffer experiencing a mental health issue. I don't know, but it's very strange because we never hear these controversies about anything Joe Biden does. Now, maybe that's because he doesn't show up.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the key. You just don't show up and you don't have the controversy brought to your door. But then we find out that, there was a veteran that was working at the cemetery, and he said Donald Trump was very respectful.
Yeah, of course.
He didn't use it as a moment where he needed to, campaign. He needed to give some sort of speech, posture, anything like that. He was literally just there to honor the memory of those who were fallen and support these Gold Star families. And so, of course, now we're hearing the rest of the story, but that's not what any of the headlines suggest from the mainstream media. It's almost like done on purpose. But that would be cynical of me.
Yeah, look, it's like, do not allow this man to take any photographs of doing what a president should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right? Cannot have that. What they also didn't talk about is they did everything to block him.
Mm-hmm.
The families had to get Speaker of the House Mike Johnson involved.
Right.
To get him in.
Yes.
So he was there for the right reason. He was doing...
The Gold Star families invited him, by the way. They released a
The current president would have been invited if he was worthy of being a president.
Right.
The families would have wanted him there. Right.
And now the left is saying that it's against the rules at Arlington National Cemetery to video anything, to photograph anything. And they're pointing to this particular Donald Trump ad that goes against, they say, Arlington National Cemetery rules. Watch.
We lost 13 great people. What a horrible day it was. We didn't lose one person in 18 months. And then they took over that disaster, the leaving of Afghanistan.
They say, oh my gosh, that's against the rules. But it's strange because back in 2020, Joe Biden released, I would say, quite a similar campaign ad. Watch.
Thank you. We owe you. We can never lessen the magnitude of your loss. This I can promise you.
Uh-oh.
We will
It's a picture
never
of Joe
forget.
Biden.
May God bless you all.
At the same cemetery.
May God protect our troops.
Again, it's almost like they know what they're doing and they know that there was nothing that Donald Trump did wrong. They're just making it all up.
Well, I have a father-in-law that's buried in Arlington National Cemetery. My wife Angela's dad, who did 2 combat tours of duty in Vietnam. We took pictures there. I have participated in a wreath-laying ceremony there. Took pictures, took video, and posted it. But the hypocrisy of this whole thing is that where was all this unrighteous indignation when Joe Biden was looking at his watch at the ramp ceremony for these 13 coming home?
Right.
Which Kamala Harris didn't even attend.
Yeah.
Right.
And now you look at the fact that we've got Joe Biden sitting and tanning on a beach, and she's out, I don't know where she is, but yet they sent a little note. No accepting of responsibility or accountability when Joe Biden thought that this was a great decision. Kamala Harris said she was the last person in the room with this decision. And again, these are the people that talk about women's rights. Now look at what has happened in Afghanistan now to women because of this debacle of a withdrawal where 13 people unnecessarily lost their lives. I spent 2.5 years of my life in Afghanistan. This did not have to end that way. And the fact that we saw the Taliban parading our equipment,
Oh my gosh.
this is the fault of this administration. The fact that we know that the 5 senior members of the Taliban that Barack Obama released out of Gitmo, they were in the parade stand a couple of weeks ago, in Bagram Air Base
Yes.
that we gave over to the Taliban. And of course, the Chinese are there exploiting it as well. So I think most people are sick and tired of the media. The media really has lost all credibility. And I'm talking about this leftist, Marxist, mainstream media. They've lost credibility with the American people. And sadly, they don't understand that.
Yeah, not just that. As Sean Ryan is interviewing Taliban, getting $80 million, $40 million a week, up to $80 million a week from the U.S. government at the moment. House drops of cash. We're funding them. It's under this administration. I mean, look, and it repeats. We can go to guys like Oz, Benghazi, left behind, leave the soldiers. Those soldiers, okay, and two of them are very, very good friends of mine, flew themselves home.
That's right.
By chartering an Arab's jet. Didn't even send an airplane for our soldiers. This is Obama and Hillary Clinton leaving our people behind. Let an embassy burn. Don't send support. 52 calls, drone in the air. Leave these 13 behind. Let them fall. Leave our equipment behind. Let them rub it in our face. What an insult! I mean, it's an absolute disgrace. It's treasonous for me as an immigrant that love this nation, that have adopted this country. Like, I can't even stand it if the U.S. flag touches the ground.
Right.
I mean, it's, for me, it's just certain things that's just unacceptable. And so it's how this administration is not already paying a price. I don't understand. It concerns me about the American population. It concerns me. But then I'm reminded, you cannot defend what you don't love. Yeah. And you cannot love what you don't know. And Gen Z doesn't know America. They don't know what our founding fathers gave their lives for. They don't know what servicemen gives their lives for. They weren't even alive for 9/11. They know nothing. And so let it burn is the mantra.
But sadly, it's not just Gen Z anymore. I mean, it is Gen Z, but it's not just Gen Z. I mean, I would argue that Kamala Harris doesn't even understand why America was founded, the principles upon which this country was founded.
Kamala will fail an immigration test.
100%.
Kamala will fail an immigration
100%.
on the English exam alone.
Yeah, I mean, I just, and she's the one, of course, she's the one, of course, who's running for president. And so I want to play also J.D. Vance, who was giving a speech at a campaign event, and he had some choice words for Kamala Harris over, the entire Afghanistan incident. Watch.
But to have those 13 Americans lose their lives and not fire a single person is disgraceful. Kamala Harris is disgraceful. We're going to talk about a story out of those 13 brave, innocent Americans who lost their lives. It's that Kamala Harris is so asleep at the wheel that she won't even do an investigation into what happened. And she wants to yell at Donald Trump because he showed up. She can go to hell.
Great point. And furthermore, let's talk about the fact of who she chose as her running mate.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, a guy that abandoned this unit when they got called into combat in Iraq and has been going around lying about, I was in Operation Enduring Freedom. Well, Italy is a long ways away from Afghanistan, Tim. I don't know if you passed geography just to say
a little bit.
Just a tad bit, I was stationed
to the right.
Is a little further, or it depends on which way you're looking at on the globe. But and they got good, wine there. They don't have any wine in Afghanistan. But the thing that I don't understand is, again, this selective indignation. You choose a person that does the most despicable thing that you can do in uniform, abandon your unit as the senior enlisted advisor, and then you have years upon years upon years of lying about it. See, those 13 that they remembered, they answered the call.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Walz didn't.
Gave their lives.
They gave their lives, the ultimate sacrifice. And Tim Walz is going around lying about the rank that he attained and lying about where he served. To me, that is all I need to know about Kamala Harris, and definitely all I need to know about Tim Walz.
Yeah. On that note, I couldn't say anything better than that. So let's go to break. We'll be right back. An armed gang. Here, let's talk about how it's going in Kamala Harris's America. I think that's what we need to start calling it. Yes. It already is Kamala Harris's America, okay? She is currently in office second in command. And she wants to talk about how she can solve the border issue as if she hasn't been in charge, as if she wasn't border czar. Let me tell you how that's going with Kamala Harris in charge in Kamala Harris's America. An armed gang, reportedly, this is a Venezuelan gang, they took control of an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado. In Southern California, a group of up to 20 illegal immigrants attempted to board a school buses along two routes near Highway 94 and Coachella. And apparently the parents had to step in and keep the illegal immigrants from boarding the bus with all of these children. So let me read you the school email here. It just came to my attention that this morning, a group of migrants tried to board Route B at one of the stops on the way back towards school. At that time, I was also informed that yesterday afternoon, Route A in a similar area had to go around a group of migrants that tried to stop the bus. Border Patrol, CHP, and the Sheriff's Office have been informed. For the safety of students and bus drivers, if there is a group of migrants at a bus stop, we will drive right by to the next stop. The kids are SOL, I guess. If they're sitting at the stop, they're just going to be SOL because the bus driver's going to drive right past them and go pick up the safe kids. And that is Kamala Harris's America. So America, if you want more of that, if you want more Venezuelan gangs taking over your towns, taking over your apartment complexes, vote Kamala, please.
May I say something about it? Okay. Yes, 100%. Human trafficking, drug trafficking, sex trafficking, but it goes further than that. SWAT is not showing up at that building because they've been neutered. SWAT shows up there 15 minutes straight. That thing is settled very quickly. Settle them, ship them back. Dead life. You pull an arm, pull a weapon on the officer, you go down. No, SWAT doesn't show up. PD doesn't show up. Nobody's taking that complex back because it's Colorado. Because it's que sera, sera. Come over here. Let's play this game of America's open for anybody, and anybody's coming with good intentions, we promise you. And in California, we'll give them $150,000. Yep. And we'll let them vote. But don't worry, they're not voting in the presidential election. They're only, Colonel West, voting in the local election.
Yeah,
they'll only take the county judges' positions, and no problem, right? It's not federal. We are at war. We are at war. We are in a fifth generation warfare, cyber war. We're at war, guerrilla. That's guerrilla.
Yep, that's
insurgency. Door to door.
That's
insurgency.
Yeah.
Domestically, not in El Paso, like you said it. Colorado is a long way from Eagle Pass,
right?
Where they probably crossed through. They probably came from the Darien Gap through Eagle Pass. They're in Colorado. Okay, woke them. Insurgency.
Yep.
On domestic soil.
Yep. Two things I saw in that video: single military age males that were armed.
Yep.
Illegal. Now, think about this. These are the same people, Jared Polis, the governor out there, these leftists, they don't want me to be able to be armed.
Right.
But somehow they're allowing these single military age males to come into this country illegally. How did they get weapons? Okay. You want to, restrict my ability to defend myself, and then what? Make me the victim?
Right.
And as you just said, Jaco, is where's the police?
Neutered.
Totally neutered. So I'm supposed to trust SWAT and the police and all these other folks to come to my rescue because you disarmed me. So this is an incredible setup. This is a bad time for America. And the numbers of single military age males that we have in this country right now, thanks to Kamala Harris, is more than the active duty and strength of the entire United States Army. I want you to think about
There's
that.
a sleeper
That
cell
is terrifying.
in this country with a cartel network that is absolutely integrated, all 50 states, that is highly sophisticated at moving people, moving drugs, moving fentanyl. And remember, those boys you just saw there with those weapons, they don't stay in the apartment building. They go to Walmart. They go into the community. They try and climb on the school bus. This is an insurgency. Walking on camera. And it's like, what you going to do?
Yeah.
So what happens when the Islamic jihadists that are there at the school bus stop and they just shoot up the school bus? Or the Chinese single military age males that, without a doubt, are probably part of the People's, Republican.
Waiting for a trigger word.
Waiting for the trigger word. So we're being set up for something. And again, I don't understand what people are voting for
Yeah.
with this Harris-Walz, consortium. You can't be voting for that. Those people are being terrorized in their own apartment building.
Right. I can abortion. Right. That's about. I mean, that's about all that they have to offer.
But that's infanticide. It's not abortion. It's infanticide.
Obviously, I agree with you.
Last night I was with Seth Gruber last night, 1619 Project. Even that, though, the lie, abortion. A third of abortion is black babies.
Yes.
I know.
Most likely, that's a black community in those apartment buildings. So where's this love is love party for Black America? No, they're not.
I know.
They are robbing our black communities blind. They're lying to them. Any black bishop or black pastor that doesn't speak against this administration, get off the pulpit, move on over. Mm-hmm. You're leading your people to the slaughter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know, but I mean that's all that they have to offer people. It seems that's all. Yeah. That's the only policy that they want to talk
Vote
about.
For. Yeah,
right. Because that's what Donald Trump changed with SCOTUS, that they can rally, which really says a lot about the state of their party. Right. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good argument. I'm saying that's how depraved they are.
Well, I think the argument is that here are people that their only issue is infanticide.
Right.
I mean, you look at Minnesota right now, what Tim Walz has signed in is that you can dismember a baby up until the time of birth and even afterwards allow that baby to die, which is what Governor Ralph Northam of Virginia talked about, setting it aside and deciding what to do with it. And so what we are creating in the United States of America are many state sanctuaries of infanticide. Mm-hmm. Now, it was so interesting that Barack Obama stood up there in the Democrat convention and invoked Abraham Lincoln talking about the better angels of our nature.
Come on.
That's not the better angel of our nature.
And not just that, Joe Biden legalizing shipping the abortion pill across state lines. We had a million babies aborted after Roe fell. Mm-hmm. Over 80%, I think the number is, of those abortions were the abortion pill, right? Mm-hmm. They are voting for death.
They are a death cult.
Yeah,
at this
100%.
point.
And remember, and it's here in Texas. Remember, the Austin City Council just voted 10-1 that they will use Austin taxpayer funds to pay for women to leave the state of Texas, go to New Mexico or wherever, to dismember babies in the womb.
That's insane.
It's infanticide.
God will not be mocked. I'm telling you, there's a reckoning coming. There's a holy reformation. Donald Trump in the White House or out the White House doesn't matter. Blood, innocent blood will be avenged by God. You'll see.
All right, we've got to take another quick break. We will be right back. So, of course, at the end of last week, we covered part of RFK Jr.'s speech endorsing Donald Trump and suspending his presidential campaign, which, by the way, I know there are some people who were like, Sarah, why are you talking over his speech? I want to hear it. Well, because we didn't realize he was going to talk for over an hour, and my show is shorter than that, and I needed to get to other things. That's why. But within that speech, which I did have a chance to go back and watch most of it. And there were some really, really great moments in there about what RFK's vision is for America's future. Now, there are some parts of RFK that I don't agree with at all.
Sure.
At all. I find him to be off the reservation on a lot of different things. But I have always, before he even started running for president, I have always supported his fierce defense of children and trying to figure out why our children are so unhealthy. And he had a moment in his speech that I really want to highlight here, talking about making our children healthy again, making America healthy again, and talking about processed foods in our country and the epidemic of disease. Watch.
Are we allowing this to happen to our children? These are the most precious assets that we have in this country. How can we let this happen to them? About 18% of American teens now have fatty liver disease. That's like 1 out of every 5.
Insane.
That disease, when I was a kid, only affected late-stage alcoholics who were elderly. Cancer rates are skyrocketing in the young and the old. Young adult cancers are up 79%. So what's causing this suffering? I'll name 2 culprits. First and the worst is ultra-processed food. About 70% of American children's diet is ultra-processed. That means industrial manufactured in a factory. These foods consist primarily of processed sugar, ultra-processed grains, and seed oils. Laboratory scientists who many of them formerly worked for the cigarette industry, which purchased all the big food companies in the 1970s and 80s, deployed thousands of scientists to figure out chemicals, new chemicals, to make the food more addictive. And these ingredients didn't exist 100 years ago. Humans aren't biologically adapted to eat them. Hundreds of these chemicals are now banned in Europe, but ubiquitous in American processed foods.
Preach. It's something I talk about as often as I can, much to the chagrin of my children who are like, why can't I have that stuff that my friends have? Because, honey, I care about you.
I want you to live.
I care about you. And so, you would think that we could all, as Americans, come to the table and say, wow, these are really bad statistics, and we should all want to solve this problem. But then you have the mainstream media. And I just feel like however much you hate the mainstream media, it's not enough. Because days after that speech, Time magazine posted an article. It now is different. It says why one dietitian is speaking up for ultra-processed foods. They changed the headline. It was originally called, "What if ultra-processed foods aren't as bad as you think?" Even though months earlier, they published an article called, "Why Ultra-Processed Foods Are So Bad for You." This is how badly they want to eliminate their political opponents, that we can't all just agree, hey, this stuff right here is killing us. We should probably fix it. And they can't admit that because now their political opponent, he's joined forces with Donald Trump. He must be evil. Now we have to go against every single thing that he says, including killing our children and making them more sick. It is mind-boggling to me how evil these people are. We can't even just agree, let's look into this, let's work on this so we can keep our children, the future of our country, healthy. And they can't even do that.
Remember, some of their champions are people like Margaret Sanger, people that led eugenics programs. So the end justifies the means to these people. Life does not have value. They don't value life in the womb. They don't value life out of the womb. They sell children for sex. They'll sell organs and body parts. They'll rip limb from limb. So for them to go feed them processed foods, let them die, they don't care. They don't give one rip. The end justifies the means. It is a culture. I want to be like Eric Church sings, broke record. I want to be a broke record here. They have abandoned God. This is a demonic deconstruction of America from within. For a global order, yes, a one world government, a constant government that is still on the same train as Hitler was, as Sanger was, as Kinsey was, as Hefner was. You can line them up. And in tow is your Oprahs and your Obamas and your Clintons and now your Sleepy Joe and cackling wicked witch Kamala. It is the mission is to drive this nation to her knees so Big Daddy global government can come out and save you and put you on the government dole like they did in the UK, and you lose all your freedoms.
Yeah.
You end up with a Mao or a Stalin or some radical dictator.
You're absolutely right. And when you talk about children and health, you look at the black community, they are the ones that are the most adversely affected. Back when everyone was saying COVID was racist, I said, no, COVID is not racist. It's just that all of those comorbidities of obesity, heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure is concentrated in the black community. Why? Because we're not eating healthy in the black community. I mean, Yako and I are probably on the other side. I'm over 60. I think you're a little over 50. Oh, okay. Well,
Thank you. I love the wisdom compliment.
I figured you were dying it, but anyhow, but the thing is
48.
See, okay, almost there. I was 2 years off. But
I'm all natural, baby.
But the thing is that we could go and outrun a lot of these teenagers.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
And think about what Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, All of these grocery stores are moving out of the inner city communities because they are not safe.
Mm-hmm.
And what does he say? Well, we'll just have government
Yes.
grocery stores.
Right.
Now, you
All processed food.
all processed foods. You look at where you can use EBT cards, electronic benefits transfer cards. It's all of these, little mini marts and everything like that. And what are kids eating? You cannot raise a kid breakfast, lunch, and dinner on McDonald's. Now, I'll be the first one to say, I love a little double cheeseburger every now and then, but 6 days out of the week, I'm getting up and I'm running 4 to 6 miles.
Right.
So what happened to the president's health council? Remember,
Right.
What happened to that? What happened to, PE being PE meant you get off your butt, you go in and you run. But now, all of a sudden, we want the boys to go into the bathroom with the girls and change and everything. That's the complete focus. So you're right, Yaku, is that there is a war on our children from being in the womb to being out of the womb. They don't want them educated. They don't want them to understand what their gender is. Nothing. It is a complete war against our kids, and it's disgusting.
And it's so frustrating as a parent because, you have to walk a difficult line. I'm just now getting to the point where my older son is 12 and I don't want to instill fear in him by being like, actually, you could get cancer if you eat that. You know what I mean? You don't want to do that to your kid. But you also want to teach them the importance of reading nutrition labels, of learning these things for themselves so that they can continue to make healthy choices and understand why they should be making healthy choices. And so I'm just now to the point with my older son where we were just talking about gumballs the other day because he has a gumball machine. And he's like, well, can I have more gumballs? And I'm like, honey, I really don't want to buy you these gumballs with all of these food dyes that are banned in other countries because they do terrible things to your body. But here in America, it's like all you can find. And so he's like, oh, I don't want those dyes either because I know that they're not good for me. Maybe we can look up a gumball that doesn't have those. And we found one.
Good for him.
Yeah, we found a brand. I wish I would share it I wouldn't share it yet because we haven't tried them yet. I don't know if it's good. But it's a fine line because it's like I want to protect you and I want to instill the importance of this, but I also don't want to ruin your innocence by explaining to you how important
You want to be a kid.
Right.
Well, good for
Right.
you, Mom, because he's partnering with you now on it. But it's sad that kids now have to, at 7 and 8, my 7-year-old is reading labels.
Yep.
Because grown-ups have abandoned them.
Right.
We take Americans to Africa all the time, right? And they'll say, Yaku, I'm eating more than I've ever eaten in my life, and I'm dropping weight. And I go, yeah, because there's zero preservatives in our food.
That's right.
Yes.
The food, there's no organic labels. It's all organic. It's all coming from the farm. None of it is processed. I mean, this is Europe. Europe kicks our tail Monday to Sunday. You listed something. Level of education and reading and writing. We are scoring so on all of it. I want to ask one favor of President Trump. Please consider putting RFK Jr. in the health department and not the CIA.
Yes.
We don't need him in the
him.
CIA.
Yep.
We need him in the health department. Dan Bongino can't help you in the health department. He can help you at the CIA.
Yeah.
We need RFK to go fight Big Pharma, clean up the ag, clean up Monsanto, kick him out, ban fake meat, ban processed stuff. We need him there. We don't need him in the CIA.
Yeah, just to add to that as well, you're talking about all of these other, you're talking about Africa and Europe. I mean, I know people who get very sick in this country whenever they eat anything with gluten in it. I mean, incredibly sick.
Yes.
They go over to Europe and they're like, I was eating pasta, I was eating bread, I ate all of their grains and I had absolutely no reaction. None. Yeah. That's how bad it is.
It's not genetically modified.
Yep.
You're not spraying it with all sorts of stuff.
Just like you and I, when we say, okay, if there's only 30% of porn on a social media site, then it's got to be 33% now. You do understand that even organic foods in America can be finished.
Yes.
With spraying.
Yeah, organic does not mean
organic
it's
doesn't
not
mean no spray. If under 30% of that plant's life, and especially in the last cycle of life, they spray the heck out of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Organic is one of the biggest tricks and ploys the food industrial complex.
Yep. Food industrial, massive marketing campaign.
And again, the government has allowed it all to happen.
Well, one of the things, even though I grew up in the inner city in Atlanta, Georgia, we had our own little garden. And it would just tickle my heart, to go down there and grow squash, grow cabbage, grow, snap peas and carrot peas. And when my mom would say, go down and get me some squash, and she would, make her a little squash and everything like that. and we were healthy. I mean,
It tastes better.
It tastes better. Just some, good old black-eyed peas that you go out there and you grow and you come and you shell them. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I shell peas.
Right.
I was pretty good at shelling peas. Or you go down south to Grandpa and you go out there and pick the corn. And you come in there and you have corn. And so we've got to get back to those basic things. I mean, I think it's Bonton Farms here in Dallas where they converted that food desert and now to one of the great inner city farms.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, please, Donald Trump, put RFK in charge of the health department that currently we have the beautiful Rachel Levine. I think we.
That's Richard.
Yeah. Well, right.
Where's Rachel? There's no Rachel.
Dick Levine. Speaking of dicks, I think he has one. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back.
Can you say that?
Well, Ben Stiller was asked, "What do you like about Kamala Harris's political platform?" Here was his answer.
Quick question: why you came and what you like about Harris' platform?
Just very excited about moving forward and all the energy and excitement that's around this movement right now. So that's why I'm here, because it's time for change, and it seems like it's happening.
You think she'll be able to sustain the momentum post convention?
For sure.
You think the race is going to be close?
What?
It's going to be close, but everybody's motivated to work and make it happen. So, and she and Tim Walz are just incredible candidates.
It's time
Okay, man. See you.
for change.
Hope he changey.
Hey, she's currently the vice president. Yes, it is time for change. Donald Trump in.
It's
Them out.
time for change. These people are so dumb.
Yeah.
They don't even understand what they're saying. Someone please remind Ben Stiller who is currently in charge. Again, we can't say this enough.
I will never look at Dodgeball again. It used to be one of my favorite
For a career
movies.
he imitates, right?
Yeah.
He can't know authentic
Hey,
even if it's
by the way, before we leave, I want to wish our producer Jessica here. Today is her last day, so wishing her the best.